Good morning. It's the Saturday coffee chat. We were just talking about how like red eyes, my hair. I'm here, got my coffee. We're gonna chat, and we're gonna chat about creating habits. There's 3 phases that we go through, and so we're gonna go through those. And one of the habits is getting up on Saturday morning and getting on the coffee chat. So we do it even when we, look like we definitely rolled out of bed and got here. Well, I do. Deb's on a different time zone. So, okay. So creating habits create our life. And if you've ever heard, like, your life is an accumulation of the choices that you've made. So choices that you've made last week, last month, last year, when you keep making those choices, and sometimes we do it subconsciously, that creates our behavior, that creates the action that we take, that creates the habit. And so then that creates our life. And a habit really is just behaviors that we repeat consistently to the point where it does become subconscious things that we do, like brushing our teeth and driving our car to work, and lots of other little things that we do that we don't even realize we're doing them because they've become habits. And we'll talk about this more in the beginning of the Badass book, where she goes into how we got this way. And a lot of it is the subconscious messaging that we get, from childhood on up, and then the things that we continue to repeat into our adulthood. So if you haven't gotten the Badass book, if you're going to follow along with us in that, get that book. You can also get it on Audible if sitting down and reading is going to be hard for you. So, that's the other part of habits, is we try to create them so that they fit into our lifestyle. And we're going to talk about that in like the phase 1 and 2, making it so that it's not as painful as we think it is. But creating habits is a skill, and it's one of the biggest premises that we do in our accountability groups. Actually, we stack habits. We do small things, and we change those over the course of our 4 weeks to create this lifestyle foundation. And it's a skill. And we go through the phases through our accountability group. We'll talk about that. And you have to learn to control and master your habits. In the beginning, it is going to be hard. So if you control you want to control your habits, or your habits are going to control you. And you changing habits really is our overall mission. Like I say this so much, is like, we're just going to take your old unhealthy habits and replace them with new healthy ones. And that is what we do, starting with prep week, and why we come in and show up every day into our group. Initially, it's going to feel hard, and that's part of phase 1. At some level, we are addicted to our habits. And I want you to kind of think about that, let that resonate. I realized this when I heard this, and I'm like, yep. When I have this I created this habit that when I get into the car, when I'm going on a car ride, because I tend to do this trip every week, 40-mile, one-way trip, taking my son into his dad's, and I would cut up my apple and have my almond butter for the trip as a snack, because I want to have food with me. I want it, food to go, so I have something healthy to eat, which is good. But I realized that anytime I got in the car, I was like wanting my apple and my almond butter, because my body is like, okay, I'm going on the car. What are we going to eat? What do you got? You got your snack? And so I had to really think about, what can I do to change that? So now I sometimes just don't, or I take something different, like my shake or something, so that it changes it up. So, so we get addicted to it, and it becomes subconscious. Like we don't even are even thinking about it, and we reach for things, or we do things or don't do things because of this habit that we've created, and sometimes without even realizing it. And that's part of what we're going to get into with the phases. So in the Miracle Morning, if you want to get, maybe I'll see if I can, for those that don't have the book, get this PDF to put into the group or in our page here. If you're for those of you in the Fit Family Facebook page that are watching this. There's 3 phases, and it's broken down into 30 days. You typically hear about creating a habit takes 21 days. But really, we're going to break it down. Our groups are 30 days, typically 28 days, 4 weeks. And so we're going to break it down into 3 phases, 10 phases of 3 phases of 10 days. The first phase is the unbearable phase, and that's just where we start, right? Everybody, when you're trying to change a habit, it feels hard, it feels painful, and all change is like that, because we're doing something different. But honestly, if you really take a second to think about what you're trying to do, what you're trying to achieve, and the action that you're taking to get there, it's not hard. It really isn't that hard. It just feels hard. And we are so emotionally driven as humans that that can like hold us back, and it keeps us from like taking action sometimes. So just know that in the beginning, it will feel that way. It's going to feel hard. So like, and it's not something that's unique to you. Everybody goes through it. And again, that's seemingly unbearable. It seems that way, but it's not. And what you have to remember is that it's temporary. So in that first 10 days, you're going to actually have to like apply a little bit of willpower to do the things you don't want to do. Like get up when the alarm goes off and push play on your workout and sit down for 30 minutes and create that meal plan. And, do a little bit of prep and, whatever else. And this is just things that come to mind as far as our groups go, but whatever other habit that you're trying to change, like when you get your paycheck, to put 10% of that into your savings account. It's going to feel a little painful and might, like you might have to sacrifice a little bit in the beginning, but you got to keep, this is temporary, and keep your mind on the long-term goal. And that's where a lot of like 90% or 95% of society, when they set a goal, they can't get through this first 10 days of the unbearable phase. And so what the key here is, 1, knowing it's temporary, and 2, being prepared for that. Just knowing this first phase is unbearable, but we're creating this new life. And so if you're prepared with that mentally, you will be able to get through that, and just know that you can do it. And why our groups are so important to the accountability piece is to have other people that are going through this with you, and we're showing up. And when you show up, especially when you're in the group and you show up and you come in and you say, I got my workout done, or, I got my meal plan, or I'm using my tracker, or I did my miracle morning, you're showing others it's possible and that they can do it too, and holding each other accountable. So that's the first 10 days, the phase 1. And then the second phase, Deb's going to talk about.
So the second phase is it's the uncomfortable one. So the first 10 days, you're conquering the alarm clock and getting up and getting some water on your face, get a glass of water. Anyways, but this is where you get into the next 10 days, and it's the uncomfortable one. And this is where you are testing yourself that you're committed. You're going to create a habit, but this is where you're going to be looking at yourself as the disciplined and committed. You made it this far, and now you got 10 more days. I relate this to like when we had to have seatbelts. First, it became a mandatory law, and then it was like, oh, cripe, I have to do the stupid seatbelt. And then it's like, okay, and I have to dig for it. Those old ones that you had to dig through the seat. But the uncomfortable part was wrapping it around, cinching it down, But now, if you really think about it, it's a habit. You just go in your car, you bring it around and click it in, and you drive. This is where you want to be. And this is the investment that you have to really recommit yourself in the uncomfortable state. I'm recommitting myself to get back into this morning routine, because when I worked, it was easy because I had a clock I was chasing, and I got up, did my morning workout, and then went to work. Now it's kind of like I don't do my morning workout because I'm retired. Now it's like, oh, I'll do it later, But when I do it in the morning, I feel so much better. So I'm in this unbearable, uncomfortable stage right now, but As Louise said, it's temporary in the first 10 days, but the following 10 days in the uncomfortable state, this is where you're really going to be recommitted and continue on, because it will come fast. It'll go by fast and it will come fast. So that's phase 2.
Yeah, awesome. So now we're at like day 20, right? We've gone through the unbearable, unstoppable, and you're starting to feel better. You're starting to associate your action with some of the results and seeing some progress and feeling a little more confident with it. And so, and we have to get through that phase, and so part of that takes some discipline and commitment, like Deb said. And then you get to the final 10 days of working through this. And sometimes it takes longer, admittedly. Not everybody's like, at 30 days, we got it. Don't ever have to think about it again. But what you need to be careful, what we all have to be careful with when we're in the phase 3, the unstoppable, we want to get to where it's unstoppable. And that is really this lifestyle, this long-term that we're creating. But a lot of the mistake a lot of people do after like the 21 days is they feel like, okay, I got this. I've done so well. I deserve a little break. And so they take a day, like if we're talking exercise, you take a day or 2 off. And if, I don't know if everyone experiences this, but I do. Like, it is harder to come back after a couple days of taking time off. When you're forming a new habit and you decide, I'm going to take a little break at doing this habit regularly, then you kind of like almost put yourself back into unbearable, depending on how much of a break you're going to give yourself. So you really don't want to. I would encourage you to keep going through the 30 days without taking any break. So you're going to show up, you're going to, you've committed in at the beginning, like especially, so we're talking about the group in the prep week, we define our goals, we make our commitment, we start working on scheduling out our routine, and we go through the 30 days of the group, the 4 weeks, and stay committed to it. And get to the end, you can reward yourself with an extra rest day or a massage or something like that, but you want to continue that habit. That's where it becomes your lifestyle. So you're just positively reinforcing the habit as you continue it, and know that you have something to look forward to, like we talk about, a non-food kind of reward that you can give yourself. And you should do that every 21 to 30 days. Like, have something that you can reward yourself that's not stopping your habit formation or, like totally going off the rails as far as nutrition goes. So, go get a manicure, have a massage, meet a friend for lunch, and just, take your new nutrition habits out to the restaurant and give them a try, right? And know that you're trying to make this a lifestyle, and that we want to fit this into our life. We're not trying to cram our life into this, right? This is where we're working this around who we are, and we're becoming that person that is just doing these things. This has become our new habit. And this in phase 3 is where the transformation begins. It's where it happens. I mean, it begins in the beginning, and it doesn't feel like it, but every day that you show up for your goal, for your commitment, you're creating that transformation. But in phase 3 is where it starts to really click mentally. And so we don't want to stop. Like in recovery, we say, don't stop before the miracle happens. Like, this is when it really starts to feel more natural. You start becoming that person that just starts to do this thing as, normally. And you start living the habit instead of the habit controlling you. You're controlling the habit. So that's really where you get through to the unstoppable phase. And the beauty is that we run groups every month to help you with this. We try to bring you new skills and new mindset, and just keep you going on this path. And I can tell you, I can vouch, I'm been a coach for almost 6 years, that if I had not had all this positivity and intentionality in my life, I don't know where I would be, what life would look like, the person I would be today would be a lot different if I didn't, have the accountability and have support from you all and the people that got me started.
Mhm.
And it just become a lifestyle. And subconsciously now, a lot of these habits are just due. And it's not that you're not going to have hard days. We're going to have days where we're just going to fight it because we're human, right? Those are those roller coaster days. But we have to just stay convicted that and know if you've gone through the unbearable to unstoppable and you can feel some of the results, you know it is possible. And then if you fall or derail a little bit, you just come back. You got anything to add to that, Deb?
No, but that's why I was just gonna say it's you can drop a day or two, but this goes on all over the weekend. It's during the week, over the weekend, and just keep at it. And like she says, just bounce back. It's like a rubber band or boomerang. You know, you fall off the wagon of it, but come back on board. It's like nutrition and exercise. This is just another tool to help you there. And it's
Yeah,
a good investment.
right. Yeah, because what is the option? Like the alternative is to not do it.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Literally, yeah.
And then also, and the final thing we'll say before we end, because we try to keep these videos short for just giving you some food for thought here, is that when you come back, if you've gone off or you've had a couple of hard days, just come back and reset the mindset, right? Come back and know, okay, this might feel a little bit painful. Don't beat yourself up because it is what it is. You are here, and just come back with a positive mindset. Whatever you have to do that. And if you need to reach out to somebody and say, hey, this is how I'm feeling, then, reach out to me, reach out to Deb, somebody else in the group that you have a connection with, or somebody in your community, and just, don't beat yourself up about it. You just come back because it's life. We all do it. And that's, I think, one of the key things. It's like, just come, whatever, like, challenge that you've had or hurdle that you've had, you just got to come back with a positive mindset. It's like you just have to stay positive in that. Like, I can't think of the right words, but
yeah.
yeah. All right, everybody. If you have any questions on this, if you're not in the March group and you want to get in the March group, then reach out to us.
Come on.
Yeah. All right. Bye.